How's it going, everyone? My name is Case, and today I'm bringing you an update video on our project Saab. Now, I have never actually gotten to drive this car, so today is going to be a good day because it's sunny out here in Colorado, and I get to take this convertible to get some new tires installed. These come from our friends over at Nexen, and this is going to make a dramatic difference in the way that this car drives, because it doesn't matter if you've got huge brakes or really fancy suspension or a super powerful motor. If you don't have the right tire, none of it's going to matter, because where your car makes contact with the ground, that makes all the difference. So once these are installed, this car is going to be in a pretty good way. There's only a couple other things that we need to do to it. If you saw the update video that came out just a couple days ago, you would have seen that the AC in this car also doesn't work. And more importantly, there's no glass in the back of the convertible top. And both of those things are also in progress. Once all of that is done, this is going to be a sweet budget convertible, because altogether, this thing just hasn't been super expensive and it hasn't needed a crazy amount of work. We just got it back from the mechanic, and he fixed a couple of leaks, and most importantly, he fixed the steering column, which was apparently barely holding on.
When you drove down the road, the steering column was basically unusable. Like, it would move up and down 3 or 4 inches whenever you tried to make a turn. Tell me about that. What was wrong with that?
That was basically unsafe. Like you said, you try to steer, but Trunks is a slot car. So I had to take it apart to inspect it, and there was a big bearing on top of there to hold the shaft centered. Inside the bearing, there was a bushing, specialty bushing. It was missing. There was nothing in there. It was a bearing and the shaft, and there's about 30 millimeters in between there. Clunk, 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 clunk. I found the bushing online, luckily. They have them available. Yeah. It was pretty cheap. Got it shipped, put it in. It's beautiful. Tight as could be, and you can actually steer it like a human.
Perfect. Yeah.
And whoa, 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 whoa.
It's not like you're playing Gran Turismo.
Now, walking inside, you get to see some weirdness with this car. And I've never driven a Saab, so this was my first experience with these kinds of oddities. The first thing that I did was look for a keyhole, and it wasn't on the right like a normal car. It wasn't on the left like a Porsche. As a matter of fact, it's down here by the parking brake. For whatever reason, I guess it's because Saab builds airplanes and they just have to do things differently. If you really want to understand the weirdness of this Saab, Tommy is the man, so I'm going to toss over to him to explain just a few of its weird features.
Back here in the Saab, you'll notice 4 switches. These are your power window controls, except they are completely backwards. Now, the front one's handy enough, have this little rib, so if you're driving along, you can just feel for the front window controls. And these are, believe it or not, automatic windows, which I really appreciate. The back ones are manual windows. You just have to push and hold the button, but it's worth noting that they're backwards. So when you push it forward, you'd expect the window to come up, but it goes down. To put the window up, you actually have to push backwards. I'm not sure if that's because our car is broken or if that's how it was from the factory. Leave me a comment in the comment section below. The Saab 900 convertible here has a switch that turns on the dome lights. Depending on the position, they'll turn on or off or come on with the door. And it's worth noting that the 900 convertible also had these funny little lights in the rear to illuminate, I don't know, the rear passenger's knees. I think they're supposed to be map lights, but I'm not really sure what they're there for. This Saab 900 convertible is pretty much fully loaded, and as such you get heated seat. I said seat on purpose because there is only one, and it's for the driver. You've got 3 positions, 1, 2, and 3, but if you're a passenger and you want your butt to be warm, better buy your own Saab.
But enough about these weird little quirks of this car. You are now joining me on my first Saab experience, which means I'm turning the key down here by the parking brake, which again, kind of weird. And it sounds like it's cranking a little slow, so this thing could possibly use a battery. And my seatbelt is like miles behind me. I don't know what the deal with that is. Another bit of Saab weirdness is that this car is front-wheel drive, but unlike most front-wheel drive cars, this one has a longitudinally mounted engine. And that's pretty odd. Somehow, I just find it hard to imagine that that was the most efficient way to package this entire powertrain. And that's what it sounds like speaking with our mechanic.
It's actually backwards, right? So the
Oh,
front
yeah.
of the engine's this way.
Oh yeah.
And the oil seal was way at the bottom?
Way at the bottom down here, up against the firewall. So the AC compressor had to be removed, all the drive belts included, alternator had to be pivoted off to the side over there, and basically remove the harmonic balancer off the front to do the job.
Gotcha.
Yeah, which was a nice custom socket that had to be cut in half to get it done.
So that's how tight the tolerances were.
Oh yeah, yep.
Now I'm putting my foot into it for the first time, and it's not fast. It's not fast, but it's not as slow as I probably would have thought. It's got a little kick, and there's not a ton of creaks or rattles. It seems like everything in the interior is put together well enough that it's not falling off. Overall, I'm pretty impressed with how good this car is, especially considering that it was purchased for $2,500 and has since had $1,100 spent on it, and that's it. So for less than $4,000, you've got yourself a classic convertible that really drives well. Got the car back from Discount Tire, and once again I'm breaking my back to reach this seat belt, but we have fresh rubber on the Saab. Now I'm interested to find out how it drives. All right, I'm gonna hook this car around this turn. Well, the tires had no problem with it, but the Saab kind of did. I think in order to actually see what these tires are capable of and how much of an improvement they are over the old tires, this thing's gonna need more power. So I know Tommy is looking to fix the air conditioning, fix the convertible top because it has no glass in the back, and that's not ideal. But I'd love to see this thing pushing out a little bit more horsepower. But something tells me that they want to keep this simple and they want to keep it fairly factory original. And I can't blame them because it's honestly a surprisingly clean car. I've never driven a Saab before, and I'm impressed with the way that this one drives, even though it's at 119,000 miles. It's 30 years old, and it's, well, cheap. It was $2,500. That's it for this video. We finally got these nice new tires from Nexen installed on the Saab. And I have to say, my first experience driving a Saab, it's really nice. It's comfortable, it rides soft, which means it doesn't handle very well, but at the same time, it's also pretty slow, so that makes sense. It almost drives like a German-style Grand Tour. It's very nice, very well put together. It feels planted, and surprisingly, it doesn't feel delicate like a lot of old cars. Anyways, go back to tflcar.com for more news, views, and real-world reviews. Thanks everyone for watching, and stay safe.
Hey TFL, Tommy, Andre. Here's the video on my 1996 Ford Aerostar that had 62,000 miles on it when I bought it on a lot in Detroit. Somebody traded it in. They never drove it in the winter. And actually the first winter was this one that just passed. So this is a really very nice example. I've had several of these. I was scooping them up when they were around $2,000 and $3,000. Has the original wheels, and I don't think those are factory running boards, but they are really high quality. Color key to the van. The design was actually marketed after the space shuttle, the Enterprise. I'm sure you can kind of see the similarities in the overall aerodynamics. I did put an Auburn limited slip differential in it. I just put these in, actually. I was surprised those were still available. Those are really nice for mitigating the wind getting air in your vehicle going down the road. So here's the headliner. You can see this headliner is in super shape, just as good as it could be for the year. These are the bargain of the century. Scoop them up all day long a few years ago. Not much like that anymore. There you go. Thanks guys for memorializing such an excellent vehicle.